Brought to you by the Fields Auto Group. Jaguars senior writer John Oehser, NFL Network analyst and former Jaguar Bucky Brooks, and senior reporter J.P. Shadrick bring you the latest on your Jacksonville Jaguars. Huddle Up starts right now.
And it is Wednesday, November 13th, Week 11. Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks. A busy show ahead. Our final look at the Vikings Jaguars matchup last week. Another loss for the Jags, 3 in a row. The first look at Jaguars Lions. That'll be a tough matchup for the Jags up at Ford Field, Detroit. The bye week coming up next week. Plenty to get to. Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks, brought to you by Fields Auto Group Jacksonville. See Fields first, Jacksonville's premier luxury auto group. Go to fieldsauto.com. J.P. Shadrick, John Oehser at the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center. Bucky Brooks in Los Angeles. Good afternoon, Bucky. It's Week 11.
It is Week 11. What's up, guys?
You know, hey, the Jags lost total, unfortunately, after last week. It's up to 8 now, 2-8 record. They'll face the 8-1 Detroit Lions coming up next week. We'll get into those matchups in just a little bit. We'll take our final look at Vikings Jaguars coming up in just a moment as well. But the big news today, of course, Doug Peterson speaking with the media. First question, what's the story with Trevor Lawrence this week?
Trevor will be out. We just decided this week he's getting close, but to make sure that, again, you guys know how I am with injuries. We don't want to put a player out there that's not 100%. So we're gonna rest him one more week.
All right, one more week at least. So the bye week, we'll see what happens there, Bucky. And so Mac Jones gets another chance at quarterback this week in Detroit.
Yeah, Mac Jones should be much better in his second starts. Part of that is that he's had like real game experience with his team. He should have a better understanding of the rhythm and the cadence of the crew that he's with, and he has to play better. I think Mac is a prideful player. He certainly wants to back up. I mean, he wants to bounce back and make amends for the turnovers and just the way that he performed against the Vikings. So you hope that he's been a Pro Bowl player. You hope that he's able to bounce back and play much better than he played on Sunday.
Yeah, it's we didn't see much in terms of downfield from Mac. I thought Doug's comments after the game were sort of showed the story of it, meaning the game being close early allowed them to sort of let Mac stay within himself. And then at the end of the game, once he had to sort of go downfield and make more chance throws and not be as contained, if you will, or conservative, that didn't fare as well. So, yeah, I mean, he's got to play better, because if you make the mistakes he made, particularly at the end of the game, you have no chance. Frankly, I'm not sure what chance they have against the Lions either way. Not trying to be pessimistic, but it's a brutal matchup. So, yeah. But we're talking Vikings. So
yeah, let's stay on last week. We'll get to that matchup against the Lions defense. What, Bucky? What is so funny?
Wow. Wow. I mean, I feel
Bucky
like
is the best team in football. I mean, this is a juggernaut they're playing.
Potentially, but the Minnesota Vikings were also a really good team, and we held them, fought them tooth and nail, and it was a game that was 12-7. So why can't we do the same thing against the Lions?
They've been in one-score games, John. 6 of them. They've lost them all, but they've been.
All these things are true. If we're going off top, no, this is the Vikings. This is a fair. It's a fair topic.
We're into it.
Absolute kudos to the defense against the Vikings. My instinct tells me that when you get 3 picks deep in your own territory, that is incredible effort for that week. I don't know that you're going to sustain and get a bunch of turnovers at the very last possible moment. I wonder how often you can do that. That's playing on the edge. And I think the Lions are a lot better than the Vikings. I think the Lions are the best team in the league, and I think they know exactly how they want to play. They're impressive.
They are impressive, but I would say, as a member of the debate club, I would say this: the quarterback for the Lions threw 5 interceptions last week.
And he ain't gonna do it again.
I mean, but I'm just saying he threw 5 last week. We got 3 in the red zone, so that doesn't mean that he's also
you're gonna get 8 picks by my math.
I'm just saying he's coming in reeling off a poor performance, so he can go 1 two ways. Either he's going to bounce back and play tremendous, or he could have a little hangover. We're hoping that he has a little bit of the hangover, and some of those interceptions continue to be a part of his DNA. How about that?
How about that? We'll dig deeper into this a little bit later.
Yeah, we'll get to the Lions later.
Yeah,
but I'm trying to stay Vikings-centric.
Jags offense last week, 143 yards, fifth worst day in the history of the franchise in terms of yardage in a single game. And a lot of 3-and-outs. They had the touchdown drive early in the first quarter, so they checked that box. Hey, first quarter touchdown, check. That was nice. Mm-hmm. And then nothing after that. Where was Brian Thomas Jr. in this game, and why and how do they get some targets his way and increase those, Bucky?
Well, I saw him running around. He was on the field somewhere. I don't know why the ball didn't go his way, but he was on the field. I can verify that he was on the field running around. The ball just didn't end up in his hands, and that was certainly disappointing. The offense has to be more intentional about making sure that the best player touches the ball. Like, he has to be a priority, and it has to be called. It has to be directed. Hey, Mac, we need to get the ball to number 7. Find a way to get him the ball. And he needs to have 10 to 12 targets at a minimum each week. He's the most impactful offensive player that we have, and it's criminal if he's not having opportunities to touch it. That has to be something that when you look at the tape and you kind of go over your call sheet, you're like, man, we really messed that up. We got to make sure that he gets the ball early and often so he can have an impact on the game. I'm
going to ask the offensive seer a question.
Ooh.
And I'll preface this by two things, Bucky. When we've talked about this Jaguars offense over the years, you have taught me that it's best when it's happening organically, right? Going to the right receiver. That's just the way this system feels right. The Vikings the other day tried to feed Justin Jefferson.
They did.
And feeding Justin Jefferson with some forced passes caused a lot of picks. So I would maintain one reason that the Jaguars didn't go to BTJ a whole lot. You've got a backup quarterback who's struggling a little bit, forced feeding into double coverage. You sure didn't want the picks early that the Vikings got. So, I mean, am I on anything there? Can this offense force feed when you told me it's always best organic?
Yeah, it's always best organic when they have all the weapons available. I think missing Christian Kirk is a huge part of it. And let's just be honest, Gabe Davis has not given us what we thought that he would give us when he was a high-priced free agent. To me, when you're up against and your back's against the wall, it's always players, not plays. And if we had to rank the players of the Jaguars in order, Brian Thomas Jr. would probably be at the top of the list when it comes to the most impact and who can deliver the biggest big play production. If it's not him, then it has to be, Evan Ingram in terms of being a chain mover. You got the 2 running backs, Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby, and then you have the other guys. It just seems that you want to make a concerted effort to get him in the mix and to make sure that he's featured, particularly when you have a backup quarterback. It's hard to envision Mac Jones making a series of completions and plays over and over and over again throughout the game that he's going to be able to drive the team up and down the field without the assistance of a big play. Brian Thomas Jr. is the one, and I would say maybe the only one that can deliver the big plays based on what we've seen this season.
How hard is it to tell him, Bucky, and I'm not trying to belabor the point, but he drops back and his read is telling him Brian Thomas Jr.'s double covered, or it's not the way to go. And I didn't play, so how tough is it to tell the quarterback, throw it there anyway? Is he making the right read, not going to him?
Oh, I would say he's probably playing it straight. He's making the right read. And I'm not advocating for him just to abandon whatever the play call is and to just throw it over to number 7, regardless of where he is in the progression. But as a coach, there are things that you can draw up
right
to make him the first guy in the progression. There's things that you also can draw up that there's really no read. Like when you think about like the fly sweeps and the bubble screens and those things, there's no read on those plays. I'll just say that he has to touch the ball in some way, shape, or form. And if we can't give it to him pushing the ball down the field, then we have to hand it to him. We have to flip it out to him. He has to have opportunities to impact the game. And no one knows what that can look like in terms of stylistically, routes, and those things. But it has to be a thing where on your call sheet, you're saying, we want to get him the ball 10 to 12 times and see if he can have an impact in some way, shape, or form.
All right, final thought on this Vikings-Jaguars game last week. Then we'll move on to the Detroit matchup. Jaguars defense, you mentioned it, 3 takeaways. They held Justin Jefferson to his lowest output of the season, Bucky. How did they do that? And is that sustainable against some other receivers we're about to see?
You know, it's funny because I asked Doug after the game if that was stylistically the way that he wanted the team to play, which was a little more bend but don't break, a little more of, I would call, the Gus Bradley era defense, where make them drive the length of the field using 12 to 15 plays. The odds suggest that something's going to go your way. They have a negative play, a turnover, a penalty, a tackle for loss. Something will get them out of rhythm, and you'll eventually be able to slow them down before they get into the red zone. Doug said, hey, that's a week-by-week thing. We'll see. But I would say, looking at the Lions' offense, it needs to be something similar. It needs to be something where you eliminate the big play. Don't allow Jameson Williams, don't allow Amon-Ra St. Brown to get past you on a vertical throw. Keep everything in front, rallying tackle, and force Jared Goff to make plays in the red zone. To me, that's the best approach. I think they can gain a lot from how they played against the Vikings. The one thing that is different about the Vikings and the Lions are not afraid to run the ball. They will run the ball with both running backs, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. So it might be a little tougher to play light in the box like they did against the Minnesota Vikings because the Lions are committed to running the football.
All right, we'll come back in a moment and dig into that matchup. Of course, plenty ahead for the Jaguars heading to Motown this week, Ford Field against the 8-1 Detroit Lions. We are off and running. It is Wednesday. That means it's Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks.
Hello, I'm Dan Fields, and we have some great news. Fields has the vehicle you want, in stock, priced right, and ready for delivery.
Fields Auto Group is Jacksonville's luxury automotive destination for Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Inventory is back and available for immediate delivery.
And every Fields customer can take advantage of our Fields Amenities program with complimentary loaners, car washes, and our cafes. You deserve the best.
Stop by today or go to fieldsauto.com.
It's game time, Jaguars fans, and Publix knows that football is all about pairings. A high-scoring offense paired with a stingy defense. A rocket-armed QB paired with a dynamic wide receiver. And at Publix, you can pair hot deli chicken tenders with savory dips, delicious sub-platters with ice-cold beverages, and you can pair these tailgate essentials with an entire parking lot full of Jaguars fans chanting, Duval! Gear up for your tailgate at Publix, the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Football is back. Celebrate with a gay Duval meal deal. Score 2 roller grill favorites and a 20-ounce Coca-Cola soft drink for just $4.50. That means you can choose any 2 to pair with your Coke. 2 hot dogs, 2 tornadoes, 2 roller bites, or mix and match. Whether you're stopping for a quick snack or tailgating with friends, this is a victory for every Jags fan. Deal happening now through January 2nd, 2025. Stop by to purchase in store.
Hey Jaguars fans, as the official whiskey sponsor of the NFL, it's not kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why they've built the Crown Royal Rig. An absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more. Please drink responsibly.
You know, when you have to play that many snaps, you know, that much time, it takes a toll, and but we do a good job in rotating and good job of staying fresh. You know, a lot of people want us to be in there the whole game, but you know, when you have a game like that, the last couple weeks, you know, we have to play our best ball in the fourth quarter. And with that being said, man, we have to rotate. We have to, you know, put guys in situations. But when it's time for us to come back in there, make plays, we do. I think this was a good job we did last week. You know, granted, we played 80 snaps a game. Hopefully those numbers are going to keep coming down. But the last couple weeks, we've been on the field a lot. And, you know, we got to stay fresh as we can.
Josh Hines-Allen earlier this week, the full press conference at Jaguars.com and Jaguars YouTube. Welcome back. It's Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks, JP Shadrick, John Oehser. And get down to the bank Sunday, December 1st. The Jaguars go head-to-head with the division rival Houston Texans for the My Cause, My Cleats game. Lock in your seats for a 1 p.m. kickoff at 904-633-2000 or visit online at jaguars.com/tickets. That's in a little bit away from now. Of course, next up on the docket, the Jaguars head to Detroit, Michigan, the Motor City, and they'll face the Detroit Lions at Ford Field. It has become a hostile place to play, of course, because the Lions are very good the last couple years, and they're off to their best start this year. Best start since 1954 when Bobby Lane and Doak Walker were running the sidelines at Briggs Stadium, later to become Tiger Stadium. It's been a long time since they've been this good this early. And let's start off with this Jaguars defense and Josh Hines-Allen and crew who've been on the field forever the last couple of weeks against this Lions offense. And Jared Goff, 5 interceptions, Bucky, last week against the Houston Texans. But overall, the way he has kind of reinvigorated his career, certainly has, since he's been traded to Detroit. I'm curious. I mean, it helps when you have the weapons around him like that, but there is a confidence in this quarterback in that city. How has he earned that over the years?
Just consistent performance, steady development, really ingratiating himself with the city with his play. This is a team that fancies itself as a tough, rugged, blue-collar team, much like the city. And Jared Goff has embraced that, and it's reflected in his play. This is a guy that is very consistent. This is a guy that shows up each and every week, and he does what is asked. And there are people that are talking about, hey, whether he's a top 5 quarterback or a top 10 quarterback. But what I do know is he's a winning quarterback, and he plays in winning fashion for this team. And with all the doubts and stuff around him when he got to Detroit, what he did is put his head down, went to work, helped this team, really this organization, completely turn around. And now we're talking about this team potentially being the best team in football. A lot of that is due to the way that Jared Goff has handled himself every step of the way.
Well, I thought it was impressive the other night. I got home in time to see about like the last probably 3 quarters. Even when he was throwing picks, which a couple of them were kind of fluky, some stuff go up in the air and, get tipped. It never felt like any of the interceptions deflated them, right? And there was never a here we go again. Even when he threw his 5th, it was the next drive, they're going. They are a resilient team that believes they're going to win. It was 23-7 at halftime? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did they ever feel out of it? I mean, it was, no. And they're a strong team that believes in itself. They're the most confident team I've seen this year. And I guess I'm talking about this when talking about Goff in the sense that they're not quarterback centric necessarily. They don't have to he doesn't have to play great for them to win. He just has to be himself, I guess is the point.
John, let me back up off that point, because I think what you've talked about is something that we'll continue to explore as we continue to have these conversations about our team and what our team could look like going forward. The Detroit Lions are a very tough and physical team. They take on the personality of their coach. This was a team that when he started, they were 0-10, and yet he never blinked. He didn't relent. He continued to stay the course. The team bought into his tactics. They then went from to 8-7-1 or whatever they were the following year before they had the big jump last year. And everything that they talk about, everything that he says is about toughness, resiliency, the team being together and those things. And a lot of times we can kind of be bored with coach talk and coach speak and those things. But I think him saying and clearly identifying how this team is built, what they're about, I think that matters, because the more the players hear it, the more they begin to buy into it and the more they repeat it. The other thing, the construction of the team. When they rebuilt this team with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, they started from inside out, meaning it's like building a house. They started with the foundation, which is the offensive and defensive lines. Look at what they committed to do there. Frank Ragnow, 2 offensive tackles that they drafted early, and then they expanded outside. The reason why this team is tough is really because they poured into the positions that are essential to building a tough team, and they made sure that it was the offensive and defensive line to set the tone with their collective toughness. And then it's the sexy stuff on the outside that everyone gets excited about.
Bucky, you talked about the running game in Detroit and the two backs back there, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. They have an identical number of carries this year, right on the money, 122 each. How different are the running styles and how they use these guys when they're on the field?
Yeah, it's funny because they're different, but they're utilized almost in the same way, meaning that they have running backs 1A and 1B. They can do the same things. Jahmyr Gibbs is the most explosive of the duo. He is the guy that is the big playmaker. He has speed, he has quickness, he has great balance and vision. He can go the distance from anywhere on the field. But he also has the ability to run inside with power and toughness. And David Montgomery, you got more of the grinder, right? Like we were talking about on the horse track. He's more of the mutter, right? He's the guy that's just kind of clogging along, making his thing, but he also can pop out in times. And together, they are a tough duo because they run with physicality and toughness. They finish runs violently, and when you put them behind arguably the best offensive line in football, man, it's a long day. And it's going to be a long day for the defense trying to figure out, do you prioritize stopping the run or the pass, because the Lions can do both equally well.
Yeah, see, I think that's what makes this – it's that part of it that makes such a tough matchup to me, because you're playing on the road. Bucky and I think, talked a couple weeks ago about stamina. And, when the Jaguars are losing – we talked about it last week. I thought it would bite them a little bit, and credit to them, it didn't. But at some point when you are struggling, when you're 2-8, when you feel like you've been close, there's going to be a punch that you can't take. And when the other team is running effectively and they keep punching and punching and punching, then that can really wear you out. And it feels to me like this on paper is the week where that's a real danger. And maybe I'm broke a record because I hear myself saying that last week too. But so massive credit, because it could have happened the last couple of weeks for this team. Hadn't allowed it yet, but being on the road against this really good team that, punch in the gut and they go up top on you.
Yeah, and they got the weapons outside to do it, the tight end to do it. They got all those pieces.
So this is there's been some over the years where this team's been struggling where you've looked at it and gone, uh-oh. This feels like, uh-oh. I think it's the toughest test of the season for that reason.
Hey, Bucky, how do you cover Sam Laporta, the tight end? How do you manage it? It feels like his numbers have not been what they were, right?
He's been beat up. He's been injured. So the big thing is, because he's been a little gimpy, he hasn't been the focal point of the passing game. The thing about this Lions team is just the next person that comes in the rotation. It means that now more balls go elsewhere. If it's not going to Sam Laporta, then it's Jameson Williams. Then it's the two running backs who also can catch it out the backfield. They got Tim Patrick, who they picked up from Detroit when they let him go. They have a lot of weapons. They're going to test you and stretch you in a bunch of different ways. And as we talked about, they can throw it horizontal, they can throw it vertical, but they also can run it at you. It really puts you in a bind because you don't know what's the priority. But I would say this, if you don't stop the run, you have no chance. But by trying to stop the run, you better be able to cover one-on-one. And so the test would be, can the Jaguars hold up outside? Can they cover these guys in man-to-man coverage? Because I can't imagine them playing a lot or an overabundance of zone like they played last week, because they're just gutting with the running game.
All right, plenty ahead. We'll come back in a moment and take a look at the Lions defense and the Jags offense trying to jumpstart from a rough outing last week against the Minnesota Vikings. Jags fans want customized Jags furniture for your home? Check out zipchair.com and browse all customizable options. Zipchair, furniture for fans. It's Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks.
Hello, I'm Dan Fields, and we have some great news. Fields has the vehicle you want, in stock, priced right, and ready for delivery.
Fields Auto Group is Jacksonville's luxury automotive destination for Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Inventory is back and available for immediate delivery.
And every Fields customer can take advantage of our Fields Amenities program with complimentary loaners, car washes, and our cafes. You deserve the best.
Stop by today or go to fieldsauto.com.
The kick is up. It's good!
Score winning sub deals this Jaguar season at Firehouse Subs. Receive 50% off on any sub when the Jaguars kick a field goal of 40 yards or more. It's a bold deal for the bold city. Download the Firehouse Subs app for offer details. Redeemable only at participating Jacksonville and Orlando area restaurants. Only available in the Firehouse Subs app. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Cheer on your Jaguars as they travel to Detroit to take on the Lions this Sunday at the official away game watch party at Mr. Chubby's West Side. Indulge in the biggest and best wings in town with appearances by Jackson DeVille and The Roar. You'll even get the chance to win autographed items and game tickets, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow Jags fans. Mr. Chubby's Wings, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Imagine beautiful new windows and doors that elevate your space and keep you comfortable year-round. At Renewal by Andersen, we specialize in custom-built, energy-efficient windows and doors that are crafted to last. Right now, for a limited time, save 20% off your entire project. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free in-home consultation today. Restrictions apply. License number CGC 1527613.
Yeah, I thought we played with good tempo in and out of the huddle. Obviously, there's a lot of things to work on throughout the game, but it boils down to finishing better by me. I thought I left 3 plays out there, and if you change those 3 plays, then maybe the outcome's a little different. So that's how I'm looking at it. That's the truth, and I'm going to learn from it and move on. And been here before, which is tough, but you also have one choice, and that's to get up and keep going. So that's what I'm going to do. Lead the team and show confidence, not only in them, but also in myself, because we work really hard and the coaches put us in great position to be ready each week, and that's our goal as an offense and as a team, to just get everyone playing together.
That's Michael McCorkle-Jones. He's the starter for the Jaguars this week in Detroit against the Lions. Welcome back. It's Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks. JP Shadrick, John Oehser in Jacksonville. Bucky Brooks is in Los Angeles. Yes, the Lions 8-1. The Jaguars are not. They are 2-8. And we'll flip it around now and take a look at the Lions defense and hear from head coach Doug Peterson on Wednesday about this group on defense in Motown that takes the ball away. They don't have Aiden Hutchinson, but they've got a whole lot left on the table.
It's a really good unit. They're good up front. It's a fast flow defense. Obviously, they can be disruptive up front. I think their 2 tackles inside are good players, big physical guys, and their linebackers can run. And really, it's just again a unit that's playing well together. That's what you see on tape, and when they do that, they can. That's where they can play fast and really, keep offenses down. It's do teams score and do teams gain yards against them? Sure, but they've also been able to stymie some guys and get after quarterbacks and create some takeaways.
Yeah, they have created some takeaways. Tied for 4th in the league with 18 of them this year. Kirby Joseph tied for the league lead with 6 interceptions this year. And as you heard Peterson say there, yeah, there's some yardage against them. They're 20th in total defense this year and 28th against the pass, but really good in situations. 3rd down, red zone, Bucky, goal to go. These guys can do a lot of good things.
Yeah, that was a good team. And it's a team that has bounced back from, I would say, like a couple disappointing years initially when Aaron Glenn took over to now they're playing some of the best ball that we've seen on that side of the ball. What they do, first and foremost, the effort is going to be outstanding. They're going to run to the ball. They're going to hit you hard. It's about effort and attitude when it comes to dealing with the Lions. And then they're going to give you a lot of man-to-man coverage because they've upgraded the personnel in the back end. That means tight window throws. That means interceptions could be had on tips and overthrows and those things as you're trying to fit it into tight windows. And then it's about dealing with the pass rush that will benefit from Zadarius Smith making his first appearance in that Lions uniform. Aleem McNeil, who's an interior defensive tackle, one of the best in the biz, he's going to have a factor. So this is a tough matchup for the Jaguars. They got to be up to the task. The first thing they got to do is protect Mac Jones, and then he has to take care of the ball.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a great defense, a good defense, or what it is. I do know that if you have a really good offense, which this team does, you can win a Super Bowl if you are fourth and takeaways and first and third down defense.
That's right.
Because you're winning on the plays that matter and you're getting your team the ball back. In this league, I don't think you're going to be like yardage great on both sides of the ball, very rarely. But that's winning defense when you have an offense that controls the ball. So that sort of jibes with what it looks like. And, you know, a credit to them for doing what they're doing without Aiden Hutchinson, because third down defense, you would think if he was playing, you would think he's the major reason they were good at that. So they're deep and they're good. Guess what?
That's what it is. That's what it is. Guys in the back
Bucky's
end.
smiling at him again. Bucky doesn't think I think they have a chance to win this.
Bucky's in a good mood today.
He's laughing at my pessimism.
I mean, I just think every game is winnable. Like the Carolina Panthers went from being the doormat of the league to winning a couple games in a row. Every game in this league is winnable if you're willing to do what it takes to win. And so for the Jaguars is, how do you need to muck up the game to give them an opportunity to win? Is that running the football? Is that somehow doing the bend but don't break thing that they did last week against a team that has a lot of firepower? Whatever that is, it comes down to, can you set your team up for success to win the game in the fourth quarter by doing whatever it is that you have to do? And so I'm curious to see what's the plan of attack against a team that is viewed as a Super Bowl contender, a Super Bowl favorite. I want to see how the Jaguars match up, because in every game, with the exception of like the Buffalo Bills game, look, this team has been close. Like, you have 6 losses by a touchdown or less. This team has been close. Can they get up off the mat and find a way to knock out an opponent that is better than them?
How would you do it then, Bucky, if you're calling the game?
Well, look, I think first and foremost, I think this has to be a ball control game where your offense is your best defense. And even though offensively we haven't played to our potential, I still think you have to call the game like that. Short, intermediate passes, a mix of the running game, trying to have these 10-plus play drives to shrink the number, or to limit the number of opportunities that they have on the other end. To me, that's the way to do it. You can't go 3 and out like they did. They can't obviously put together the performance they did on Sunday, where they didn't have enough plays and the defense had over 80 plays that they had to defend. The magic number is 65 plays to play great defense in the league. So the Jaguars got to maybe slow the game down a little bit, but control the game. And then Mac Jones, he's going to have to play well. He didn't play well. He has to play better. He can't mope and pout and have the kind of game that he had in the fourth quarter. He has to find a way to play well. And everyone around him has to rally around the backup quarterback. So I shouldn't see some of the things that we see on occasion on the sideline, guys yelling and squabbling and all that. Everyone has to pull the boat in the right direction so they can get off the mat.
Yeah, I think Mac's the key for the defense. I mean, if he has to, as Bucky said, he has to be efficient on short passes. I don't know that you're going to beat the Lions. I think they have to have some big plays, but I don't think you're going to have multiple huge plays against this defense. And I'm not sure the Jaguars' running game is built to be a ball control, keep the ball away from the other team. I think it can be effective, but it doesn't. If the Lions know that's going to be the approach, the Jaguars have not been a blast the other team off the ball and run for 4 yards a carry. They've hit big plays in the running game more than anything. So it's going to be incumbent on Mac Jones to be better in the short and intermediate passing game than he was on Sunday.
All right, fellas, let's come back and get our final thoughts in ahead of this Jaguars-Lions matchup in Week 11. The Jaguars head to Motown and Ford Field. Jags at 2-8, Lions at 8-1. It's Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks.
Hello, I'm Dan Fields, and we have some great news. Fields has the vehicle you want, in stock, priced right, and ready for delivery.
Fields Auto Group is Jacksonville's luxury automotive destination for Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Inventory is back and available for immediate delivery.
And every Fields customer can take advantage of our Fields Amenities program with complimentary loaners, car washes, and our cafes. You deserve the best.
Stop by today or go to fieldsauto.com.
The 2024 season is Pawsome. Register your pet for the Four-Legged Fan Club, presented by Forever Vets Animal Hospital. your furry friend can access exclusive merchandise, events, and sweepstakes throughout the season. Fan club members will be automatically entered to win the Pet of the Game sweepstakes with 2 Jags tickets and sideline passes for pet owners and the chance for your pet to be featured on the video boards as Pet of the Game. Visit jaguars.com/promotions/4-legged fan club to sign up.
Listen up. Just like football, timing is everything. Only water your lawn when necessary. And always check the weather before turning on those sprinklers.
Save water, save money, and score big. It's a win-win.
Whether you're on the field or at home, we're all on the same team. Florida's water. It's worth saving. This message brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Visit sjrwmd.com for more information. Looking for the perfect place to host a business trip, corporate group, or social gathering? Look no further than the award-winning Sheraton Jacksonville Hotel. Proudly part of the Marriott family of hotels. Centrally located next to the St. John's Town Center off Gate Parkway in JTB, they offer everything you need, whether you're hosting a meeting or just unwinding with friends at the BC Grill and Patio. Discover comfort and convenience like never before. Search Sheraton Jacksonville or call 904-564-4772 today.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you can't stay on the field, you can't convert, get a first down. I mean, it's hard to even get the ball. So, I mean, it'll all come with just you got to be better with the little things and get a drive started and maintain a drive. It'll be better.
Brian Thomas Jr., Jaguars wide receiver, on Monday in the locker room. Fresher sound from today, available coming very soon on Jaguars.com. Bunch of players speaking with the media today as they get ready for the Lions matchup. It's Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks, brought to you by Fields Auto Group Jacksonville. See Fields first, Jacksonville's premier luxury auto group. Go to fieldsauto.com. Well, the Detroit Lions are looking to win their division in consecutive seasons for the first time since 1952 through 54. It's been a while. They made the NFL championship game each of those seasons and won 2 of 3. Here you see the NFC North. They lead the way at 8-1. Minnesota right on their tail. Green Bay in the mix. Chicago is fading. Meanwhile, the Jaguars in the AFC South, of course, at the bottom of things with a 2-8 record. The Texans are not running away. They're 6-4. And the Colts aren't doing themselves any favors, though, at 4-6. A lot of football left to be played. We'll see if the Texans can sustain down the stretch. But that's how different things are for these teams going into this matchup, John. And, it couldn't be more stark of a difference.
No, it would be one of the bigger upsets the Jaguars have ever pulled if they win this.
Sure.
So,
yeah,
that's what it is. I wish I had more insightful analysis than that. I think it's a tough matchup. Even beyond the records, I think the matchup itself is tough. I think Bucky's going to start laughing at me again because he thinks I'm some cynical guy. But it's I think this is it's tough to find a path.
It's a tough matchup, and it has nothing to do with the X's and O's. It has more to do with the mentality and the approach of both teams. The Detroit Lions, you know exactly what you're going to get each and every week when they show up. It's going to be a physical matchup. It's going to be one that is going to be very combative. It's going to be highly contested, and they're not going to relent at any point. I still have the memory, and I'm sure most of these players have the memory of the shellacking that took place a couple years ago when we went up there. And so that's what you have to be ready for. And it reminds me of those old days when the Jags had to get ready for the Pittsburgh Steelers or a team from the AFC North, where you knew that it was going to be one of those kind of gritty type battles. This is going to be a gritty battle. You got to be ready for it. And if the Jags are not ready for it, it could get lopsided. But if they're ready for it and they come with the right mind frame, and if they're able to get off to what we say a good start, because we really haven't seen the Jags get off to a fast start, but let's just say they can get out to a good start for the first time, I would say all year. Then you have an opportunity to dictate the terms, and then those games kind of become tough for the favorite team, because I can't imagine that the Lions will be all the way locked in with a 2-8 team coming in. But you just never know. That's why we got to play it.
That's why they play the games.
This is where the season can go either way for the Jaguars right here with a bye week next week. A loss means they're not mathematically eliminated, but they would be guaranteed a losing record no matter what happens
it's very
down the
difficult
stretch.
Math.
Yes, absolutely. And then there'll be questions, of course, about the long-term future of the quarterback, of the team, heading into the bye week. We'll get to that next week. Jaguars, Lions. Well, hopefully we don't get to that next week because that means the Jaguars will have upset the Lions.
That's right.
And have kept their hopes intact and can build upon that moving ahead. Either way, we'll get to that next week on this program during the bye. Bucky, we'll talk to you on Sunday at Ford Field. Appreciate it.
I mean, it should be fun. Hopefully we can get a dub. Hopefully we against all odds, maybe we can get a dub.
I'm glad you got a couple laughs out of John today, Bucky.
All right, Buck.
Bucky Brooks, John Ogier, our thanks to Brent Reber, Joe Fortunato, and our entire crew. Thanks to you for watching. It's Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks.